Welcome to the 31st Annual Anderson School of Management Hall of Fame online premiere. I'm Ann Rhodes. I'm a past Anderson alum and proud president of People Inc. I'm delighted to introduce the 2020 class of inductees, recognizing their commitment to excellence in their professions and contributions to their community. Stephen Harper is a best-selling author, award-winning professor, entrepreneur, consultant, angel investor, president of 4 enterprises, and board member for numerous organizations. He's written 8 books on leadership and entrepreneurship. Steve earned a BBA at the Anderson School in 1970, an MBA from the University of Arizona in 1971, and a PhD in management from Arizona State University in 1975. David Jessen is a retired partner from the international accounting firm Ernst Young. Upon graduation from Anderson in 1972, he began his career with a small local firm where he interned during his senior year. He married his wife, Melissa, also a UNM graduate, in 1975 at the UNM Alumni Chapel. Soon thereafter, he joined a regional CPA firm, the predecessor to Arthur Young & Company, that later merged with Ernst & Winnie, known today as Ernst & Young. David played a key role early in the firm's growth into one of the Big 8 accounting firms. He opened the first offices in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and Raleigh, North Carolina. Today, E&Y is the second largest accounting firm in the world. The Jessens have established an endowment to support scholarships for Anderson School students. Ironically, both Steve and David live in North Carolina, where each taught at the University of North Carolina, Wilmington. Let's hear from Stephen Harper and David Jessen.
The best professional advice that I've ever received came in a very, very difficult time for the profession. And that was back in the early 2000s when all of the accounting scandals were taking place. And it really rocked the accounting profession. And I can still remember the CEO of Ernst & Young at that time told us at one of our leadership meetings, the firm will always stand behind us, that there is no single client that is too large or pays too much in fees for us to lose our reputation and integrity. I remember back at the firms that were involved in the scandals, how they made some decisions because the clients were their largest clients and paid hundreds of millions of dollars of fees, and some poor decisions were made because they didn't want to lose the client. In my position, I had times where some rather large clients wanted us to do things that were unethical. And I always knew that I had the power and the strength of the firm behind me. And I was actually in some positions sometimes where I had to say no to a client and lose them so that we wouldn't compromise our ethical integrity. And I think that's probably the best advice I ever received.
Smartest thing I ever did professionally was having the guts to go from one of the largest business schools in the country to one of the smallest. While everyone said you're kind of committing professional suicide in the process, I realized in this case is the commitment to teaching and my priorities matched that university. So I had the guts to move forward where most people said, oh no, you've got to go for one great institution. I knew what a great institution was. It was just different from what the other people were doing. Giving back to Anderson is important to me because had it not been a session with my advisor as a senior, I would never have had thought about the opportunity of going into academia and all. I thought about going back in the family business or going to work for a Fortune 500 firm. But in talking with my advisor at that time, he said, Steve, given your interests and capabilities and concerns, have you ever thought about being a professional educator? Well, frankly, I did not. I mean, I was a reasonable student and all, but the real thing in that point, the real value for being at Anderson at that time, was he gave me a completely different alternative. And that's what the value of advice is. And that's why I want to give back to Anderson, so that other students have that type of opportunity to take a better look at themselves and maybe choose a different path than they had originally planned.
I probably have had a major, well, I would call this a life-changing moment. It was a life-changing moment for my entire family, and it was relocating to North Carolina. I've seen throughout my career, both in Albuquerque and in other offices where I've worked, where people were given opportunities, but because they were comfortable in the environment that they were in, that they decided to not accept the challenges and move on because they felt comfortable where they were at. I think getting out of my comfort zone and moving and taking on new challenges, it had a huge impact on my life and my family's life.
I had two mentors very early in my life. My father was the first who was supportive of everything that I did. The second one was a teacher in 8th grade elementary school of all places. He not only taught me art, he drove the school bus, he was the coach in all the sports I had, and even taught square dancing, which was kind of comical for basically a Renaissance man. So both combined at a very early age have influenced me for the rest of my life.
Welcome to the Anderson Hall of Fame, Stephen Harper and David Jessen. To all who have joined the celebration online, please post your comments on YouTube and/or repost to social media. Tune in at noon on May 21st to meet the Young Alumni Honorees, Nicor Allen and Darrell Garcia. Thank you.